Unification. Many Koreans hope it can be reached within their lifetimes. However, interest in that subject is waning among the younger generation as they become further detached from the Korean War and a once unified nation. For our news feature tonight, Kwon Jang-ho takes us to a series of programs and events designed to get them thinking about the significance and the possibility of unification.
These children at an elementary school in Seoul are playing a board game identifying the provinces of North and South Korea and their cultural features. The game is aimed at getting the children to think about what a unified Korea would look like geographically and culturally. It's part of a special morning of classes for Unification Education Week. Not only are they playing games, but a North Korean defector has also been invited to speak to the class. For many, it'll be their first time to meet a North Korean and the first time to really consider what life is like north of the border.
I learned a lot about North Korea. I learned that they can't use the internet in North Korea.
I was really surprised to learn that many children are forced into labor. I hope children's rights in North Korea are protected someday soon.
This is one of just hundreds of programs that are taking place all over the country this week as the government tries to engage the younger generation into thinking about the possibility of a unified Korea. It's a challenge that's becoming ever greater as the years go by. Recent surveys show that only 65% of respondents in their 20s said they think unification is needed, and that number has been decreasing. Unification remains an essential part of South Korea's constitution. But as memories of the Korean War and a once unified Korea fade, the younger generation are finding it harder to see its benefits.
They worry it will cost too much, that living standards will have to drop. But if we have unification, our landmass grows along with its possibilities. We will be connected and become the center of the Eurasia and Pacific regions. The possibilities are endless for our next generation of leaders.
Here at the headquarters of the Institute for Unification Education, university students are taking part in a mock cabinet meeting competition. They are set in a not-too-distant future, 1 year after unification has taken place. The students take roles in different parts of the government and try to discuss and solve a range of issues that the country might have to face after decades of division.
Our group here is half women and half men. We're hoping for a world where after unification there's equality for men and women. From there, we want to effectively tackle human rights issues.
Experts on North Korean issues will judge and choose 3 teams with the best representation of the issues, who will move on to a grand final a week later. But it's not the winning that matters.
Compared to just reading a book or watching a film, it's different to actually imagine that unification has happened and to consider issues that you would face as a lawmaker. It reaffirmed my hopes for unification.
The team spent all of last week together preparing, but we learned so much more in the last 10 minutes when we got the judges' feedback. We realized where we were lacking and that we should consider the issues again.
These students have largely benefited from this experience, but they're a minority among their peers. There's no compulsory unification education for university students, and grade schools only put aside 10 to 20 hours a year for it, which critics say is not enough.
The Education and Unification Ministries are working together to try and increase the hours. But we are also making efforts outside of the school education system to increase activities and programs that young people can get involved in.
Unification may not be an immediate concern for young Koreans, but with the right approach, the Korean government can instill awareness and prepare them for what could become the most important event in their nation's history. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.